Okay, today's video we are going to talk about the targeting strategies that's going to take your Amazon campaign to a 3x higher ROAS or individual lower ACOST. Through having micro-targeting or long-tail keyword targeting of your campaigns. Of that, I'm going to talk about exactly what that is and means, how you can implement it into your campaign, and of course you know what kind of results they can bring already. There's also another way of doing this, which is competitor targeting, which a lot of people do, but they aren't doing well enough, not nearly enough, to get the full exploitative value out of targeting your competitors' product pages itself with ads. And so, of course, through the search results as well. I'm going to talk about exactly what we're doing. Basically, this is the exact strategy that I'm using when I come into a client's new Amazon ads campaign for the first time, when we're bringing a client under contract and we have to guarantee their results. Usually we give that client a good 25 to 100% increase in ROAS as the initial starting point of which we start our initial arrangements with the client with and doing, of which we start getting paid after that point. And I know, already, because we've done this so many times already, 10 plus times already, that when we use this individual strategy I'm giving to you right here, we're going to get that increase in ROAS. It's formulaic, and you should be able to use it for your campaign as well. So that said, I'll get right into the content, okay? There are two basic ways you can always use to increase the profitability of your Amazon ads basically every time. First of which, finding attributes tied to your product that people are searching for. Basically through the search terms report that some people, but clearly not enough people use. Because when I go into accounts, people aren't using the data well enough. Not even close. Of which, in addition to that, advertising on individual competitor terms one by one. So I see people targeting competitor items, but it's not nearly systematic enough to get the full value out of what you're doing there. And of which, through the combination of both of these individual efforts, they're not doing mathematical bid calculations to identify of the people searching and finding their ads, how much should you exactly be spending for your bidding in those places, and using manual bidding itself, so you have the full controllability of this to get the exact ROAS that you're looking for, no more, no less, and get the maximum amount of sales volume you can at that particular ROAS. So I'm going to talk about what that actually looks like here next. So for the first one that I talked about here, finding the attributes tied to your product that people are searching for, what this means is this actually where you're going to go into the search terms report on your Amazon campaigns. Just go into one individual campaign, if you will, and find what you ultimately discover what's in there. You're going to go through all possible variants of search terms that people use to click on your ads, because that's what that search terms report is, and you're going to add those terms one by one, ad group by ad group. And so, to give you an example of where I just most recently did this for a women's clothing brand, I dived into the individual search terms report for a few different campaigns, and we just started studying what are the basically markers of the way that people search for women's clothing that our particular client sells. And of that, we found through our research there, and this is just a limited example and list here, there's actually more than this. We went super deep. When we go ahead and do this, we don't stop at nothing. We go and get every single variant that there is, that there's even reasonable search volume on. So we know people, when they're looking for dresses, for example, people look for short sleeve dresses, long sleeve dresses. If they're looking at dresses, they're looking for obviously different colors. That's a very obvious one: black, green, white, red, whatever. So they're looking, black dress, green dress, whatever. They're also looking for the dresses in different sizes: 1X, 2X, 3X, whatever. They're also looking, sometimes they'll search not just based upon sizes like 1X like that, they'll use a dress size instead, which is basically the same thing, but in a different way of saying it, a different way of people searching for it. 10, 12, 14, whatever the dress size is. So like dress size 10, 10 dresses in dress size 10, whatever they're searching there. They're also searching by material, lace, velvet, whatever the material is. They're also searching by cut, low cut, medium cut, high cut, V cut, whatever it is that is the individual cut of that particular item. People, search that way, and then they're looking for low cut dress, high cut dress, whatever. And this goes on. And this is the type of thing that you're looking for in your search terms report to identify up front as the first step here. Once you've identified all those, then what you're going to do then is you're going to combine your base keywords. In this case, we're selling dresses. We'll just say there's other items that they sold, but in the individual dress category of clothing, we would take dress plus short, dress plus long, dress plus short sleeve, dress plus long sleeve, dress plus black, dress plus white, and find what I call all the different permutations of the product and these different individual subtraits that people refer to that product as, to get all the, what they call in the industry that we're in, long tail keyword searches that people search for to find our products. And so the typical person would actually start out just targeting dresses, pretty dresses, whatever. If you want your ROAS to go up, you need to be able to find these long tail searches, okay? The great thing about Amazon, unlike Google, that I have a fuss with, you can actually target these super long tail searches and actually get to where you can actually bid on them. On Google anymore, and Bing, if, only if 3 or 4 people a month search for short sleeve 10X dresses, you can't bid on the keyword. But on Amazon, if there's 2, 3 people, 4 people a month searching, you can still bid on it. And of course, if somebody's searching that specific of a search, and you have taken the time to make sure that that person that makes that search finds the exact item that's the most relevant item in your inventory for that person, and that actually matches, and you're not just sending them to a complementary item, but that item matches with the searches, you're going to get a massive increase in your ROAS right away, or decrease in your ACOST if that's what you're measuring. But that's the type of thing I'm talking about here. So with that, of course, you're going to try to find all permutations that apply to a certain item, and then put that, campaign together, put all the keywords that represent, long tail keywords that represent that particular item into an ad group by itself, so that anybody who's searching a long tail search finds that item. And if they don't obviously search for a long tail search, you're not going to worry about it anymore. You're only going after the more descriptive searches, people looking for general stuff. Let your competitors take all that traffic that gets a lower return. And then once they get to those competitors' pages, we'll snipe them off of those pages by running display ads on those pages, which is the other thing that you're going to do. But at least for this first item here that I'm talking about, we're talking about running sponsored product ads. So if somebody's searching for a very, very specific item we sell, and that our items apply, we're going to bid on it. If they're looking for a 1X lace dress, and that's what we have, an item that is actually a 1X size lace and it's a dress, we're going to bid on it. If not, we're not. And so what we're going to end up with, of course, like I said, is a individual ad group for every single item that we market, and then the long tail keywords, which is you're going to mix and match all the different traits that you can as possible keywords, are going to be in that individual ad group. So every single possible long tail search that you can find and that people search for, you've got covered with this ad, within this ad group that represents and markets and sponsored products to people in that, and looking for traits that match that particular item. So that's basically how you do it. And then you can go online and you can find something called a permutation generator. Just type in permutation generator on Google, and you could put in here for an item. This is the reason why there's an opportunity here. Your competition wants to work an hour and be done. You're going to work on this as if your life depended on it. You're going to go ahead. You're going to have to do this item by item, you're going to find out of all your permutations, or your categories here, variety, color, size, dress size, material cut, assuming we're talking about dresses here still, and that's what you sell, you're going to see which ones apply to that individual item itself. Is it a short or is it long? Okay, if it's only long, we're going to put that into a list. And basically the same thing, based upon the color, we're going to put it into the list. Once you have, based upon your main categories, because if you remember, I mentioned up front, you're going to get the different categories of these different phrases that people use to refer to your item in the past. And you're going to categorize them: variety, color, size, dress size, like I did. And then by item, item by item, you're going to take that item, find out of each category what are the individual traits that apply to that item. It's a long sleeve black 3X, which is a 10X dress size. It's actually material velvet. Once you find all those, you're going to take all those individual traits, you're going to put them in your permutation generator, along with all the ways that somebody refers to that item: dress, dresses, and so on, as far as the base part of the keyword, or what people refer to that item is normally in the general public. And then you're going to hit the enter key on that permutation generator tool, and it's going to get you every possible variation of all the different traits. So, in other words, you'll get one keyword that's just long sleeve dress, and then you'll get one keyword that's black long sleeve dress, assuming it's a black dress, and then you'll get one keyword that's 1X black sleeve, 1X black long sleeve dress. Then you'll get one keyword that's, of course, lace 1X black long sleeve dress, and so forth. And it keeps going. So ultimately, you'll have hundreds potentially of different keywords for that one item when you're done. So it'll just mix and match, because you'll get just 1X in long sleeve dress, just 1X in black dress, just 10 size 10 black dress, and so forth. You get my point here. So you got every possible variation of ways itself that people are going to search for that item, in which still match the traits of that item. Through that permutation generator, you're going to put it in the ad group, send people that search for those things to that item. You'll get a fantastic return on that item for that item from now on. And of course, you got to go to the next item and then write down of your categories which individual description, or which, in this case, which variety, is it a short sleeve or long sleeve dress? Is it a black dress, white dress, and so forth? Then you have to do that whole thing, again with the next item. And if you have hundreds of items, this is going to take you a while, if not thousands. It can take a whole team of people to actually sort this out. But the good thing about this kind of strategy is you don't have to do it all at once and to know if it's working. You can do it just for one item, test it out, see for yourself. What I'm saying here is absolutely 1,000% correct. That you're going to get a tripling in your ROI/ROAS just by doing this one simple, obvious thing, but something that's going to take a lot of work. You can obviously do, for if you had 100 items for sale, you could probably do this in about 20 hours or something like that, and then you're basically done already. But you get the general idea there. That in and itself, you do that, you cut out all the short tail, sort of say, keywords like dresses for sale, and you start going after 1X green long sleeve dresses as a keyword, and so they're being more descriptive than saying dresses. You're going to get a massive increase in ROI automatically. There's no questions that you will not. Once you've done that, by the way, you run your campaign, and then from there you see all those different keywords, like you have 100 plus keywords in that particular ad group. You're going to see which keyword gets what ROAS, and then you're going to adjust your bids, because I mentioned you should use manual bidding. So you can come in 90 days later. Of the keywords that had at least 100 clicks on it already, you'll adjust your bid to a very specific, precise bid that matches the level of ultimately the ROAS that you want for that particular keyword. And there's bid adjustment formulas that you can Google, where you can find out how to plug into a formula the exact bid you need to get the exact ROAS you need for that individual keyword. And then you'll do that for every keyword. your campaign can only do nothing but get you the ROAS, the exact ROAS you want, with as many sales as you want through that process. Or ultimately, if you're just looking to get more, you're happy with your ROAS and you just want more sales, you can use a bid adjustment formula and then bid up or down based upon the ad group itself, whatever your ROAS for that ad group as a whole. If the individual keyword has a ROAS that's lower than that ad group average, you can bid lower percentage-wise based upon a bid adjustment formula that you can use, which is the standard way to do a bid adjustment, or just bid more if that particular keyword has a higher than average ROAS based upon that ad group average. And then you'll absolutely get more overall profit from that particular ad group / item you're promoting within that ad group. So that would be the follow-up to this that's going to get, once you did all the hard work of building the structure out for yourself, to get the absolute maximum amount of sales and profit you can out of it. So that's the number one. It's actually pretty simple, but it's just something that works because it's more work than 30 minutes or an hour's worth of work. And either the people that, the companies themselves that could do this don't do it because they don't know any better, or they hire agencies who are trying to do as little as possible so they make the most amount of money. The typical, 98% of people out there aren't going to do what I'm telling you to do here. Therefore, and this is logically, if you just think in the minds of the consumer, if you're searching for a specific item on Amazon and you had somebody that had, something that matched exactly what I was looking for at the top of the search results, you're going to click on that one, you're going to get rewarded as such. Amazon is, ultimately you're just going to get the person that gets to your product page is going to be more qualified than they would otherwise if they were making a more ambiguous search and you were, basically spending your money to attract people looking for general searches, because you just having the consumer reveal to them what it is they exactly want and then giving them the item. And because you've done that, you get the massive return. Your competition, who doesn't want to do it, doesn't get it, and everybody wins. So anyway, with that said, as far as the second item on the list here, advertising to an individual competitor items, most people know how to, target competitor items itself, or on Amazon through sponsored product ads, but also on sponsored display ads. But because of how inherently how lazy people are, I see people targeting a few competitors and then they're kind of done. What we're going to automatically do, because we have to get a return before we get paid and we want it as quick as we can, we're going to map out every single competitor item that's directly comparable to the items that our client has and put it into a big spreadsheet. And we're going to write every competitor, and then we're going to find out of our inventory what's the most relevant item or closest matching item to that competitor item for every single competitor item that we found. And then we're going to set up, of course, a campaign that's going to be able to individually promote. So if somebody's searching for that item, our ad's going to pop up, and we're going to have a controlled item that we want to show to that person that's going to give them the highest likelihood of also being something that consumer would be willing to buy, and doing the same thing if they're on those competitor pages itself. So, with that said, if they're looking at this item of the competitors, we're going to show them this item. If they're looking at this item, we're going to show them this item. And really just dig in and try to do the homework as to that item, what traits that item has. Make sure your product you're showing to them has the same traits. It matters a whole lot, that little extra step, making sure not only just every competitor is targeted, because a lot of times what I see is they'll target a few competitors but not all of them, and so they're throwing a ton of money away that way. But then when they're just using like one product to target a bunch of competitors, and that sucks as well. So you target all possible competitors, you go ahead and really do your homework on the platform, and then you make sure the most relevant item that has the closest matching specs, features, and traits, and you make sure that they only see those. But and then similar to that, some people, when they're doing competitor campaigns, won't do the sponsored display, and they won't do the sponsored products, but both work amazingly well when you're talking about competitor targeting on Amazon. So anyway, with that said, that is exactly what I would do in addition to the long tail keyword targeting that I mentioned above. And then once you've set up to make sure that you've targeted every possible competitor item that matches close, you have a product that also matches like as a direct competitor of that product. You run that campaign for 90 days and you come in and you assign a unique bid for every single competitor item of what that traffic's worth, both on the sponsored product ads and the sponsored display ads, so that you have mathematically the exact ROAS you want, or you're getting, of course, the most sales as you can at the minimum ROAS that you want by using a bid adjustment formula that I just mentioned on number 1 here, as far as our typical Amazon starting strategy that we're going to start with on an account. And for the most part, there's other things you can do on Amazon, but this is the lion's share of where the profit's going to come from itself. Once this is done, the money's going to be rolling in, and for that matter, you can get into testing the creative, which is a great thing to do itself, figuring out what needs to be said on your ads, trying video ads out. Beyond that, going in, and of course, our typical thing would be to go in and start, even though our agency doesn't do it, we provide guidance on this type of thing, testing the product titles and descriptions itself, and hiring a decent copywriter to write those. I see a bunch of people doing Amazon stores and writing really shitty product descriptions, particularly because they don't have actual copywriters writing it. You'll do yourself a hell of a favor by getting it, not just an employee who knows how to write in a witty style or way, an actual sales copywriter to write those damn descriptions. And it'll do, insanely better than what you can do even as the owner of your company writing it out. Of course, to get that level of detail, the copywriter is going to have to charge a lot of money because they got to study the product in detail. Now it takes a lot of time. And so you as the owner have an edge on anybody else because you know the product better and the market better than anybody else. But if somebody that's a copywriter learned it as good as you because you've taught them, and then they add their juice to the mix, you're going to end up doubling the amount of sales you can get on the same exact setup that I talked about here by getting that rewriting done. And it's another one of those things, like I said, product by product. You can just hire a good copywriter is not going to charge any less than $100 an hour for something like this. I would be hiring somebody for probably $100 to $200 an hour that just specializes in Amazon and product description writing. You can find that type of thing on Upwork.com at that kind of rate, and actual specialists that just specialize in that. If you don't know how, just leave me a comment basically below, and I'll point you in the general right direction. But you can hire a $200 copywriter, have them rewrite just one product listing, implement it, watch the results over the next 90 days, see the lift, come back to the person and know whether hiring them to do all of your listings is worth it or not. So basically you could spend $200 for a beta test to see if this person can raise your conversion rates on your page, and with the potential that when you come back, the mathematical, you can factor it out. Okay, I doubled my sales because of this, and then if I did this to the rest of my 99 items, I would get this much money over the next 3 years, and the writer's going to charge this to do all those 99 items based upon the first item, how long it took, and then you can, work it out. But generally speaking, Amazon's going to love you. Organically, you do that, you're also going to get higher rankings. Not to mention, if you just spend more on your ads, you're going to get higher organic rankings from that. It happens. Basically, it's a rule. So you start with this kind of stuff, use your money to rewrite, and then the combination of the two is going to get you a bunch more organic traffic, if you will. And then you may be able to accept a lower ROAS on the PPC ads to get yourself a little further, because your organic's going to respond a lot more once you raise your ad spend a little more. There's a law of diminishing returns here in terms of ad spend and how far you can lower your ROAS before the increase in organic's not going to, even out, if you will, your overall true profit from what you're doing on Amazon as a whole, because you do PPC ads for a lot of people. You do PPC ads for the organic rankings. What I'm telling you is the PPC, it can be profitable, but you should generally accept a lower ROI or ROAS from your Amazon ads, knowing, because you want to really ramp up your organic as high as you can. You'll make more money that way than saying, I must have a 500% ROI on my ads, and then really you're getting 1,000% ROI because the organic is actually subsidizing a lot of what your PPC is doing automatically. So you think about it as PPC and organic kind of as one. Because if you spend more, you'll know your organic goes up. So you can run that test for yourself. Spend a whole bunch more for a month. See what your organic rankings do. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But anyway, that said, I'll wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed this video. You should consider giving it a thumbs up for me, for the algorithm, to help get the video out there. And you should also consider subscribing to this channel, as I have a ton of other videos on this channel where we talk about the exact kind of strategies we're using at our PPC agency that are working for other clients to guarantee the results, as well as stuff that doesn't work to stay away from. And so, practically speaking, it's the best, most actionable advice you're going to find on YouTube on stuff that is actually out there working today, that you can use to make more money on your PPC campaigns on Google, Facebook, and all other PPC networks without having to waste a bunch of money and try a bunch of stuff yourself. And so with that, you should certainly subscribe. If you want to have a few more tips, I have some extra advice available on my blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, where you can get advice on how to set up PPC campaigns the way that we're setting them up for our clients, kind of step by step. Whereas on this channel, we have advice that's more high level, like I've just described with this Amazon strategy. On the blog, I get a lot more in detail on how to physically set stuff up. So if you want some more extra bonus information, you can find it there. If you have any questions about anything I talked about today, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel. As a final note, I want to mention that we still have a program that we started here that's gaining some more traction now, about where we offer turnkey PPC campaigns. And what that looks like is, if you are looking for, instead of a PPC service from a company, you want the campaign templates and perhaps landing pages that work well for your PPC market or a market that you're trying to get into, you can reach out to us and we'll give you the campaign templates themselves. Where we have had a campaign running for years in a certain market, gotten millions of dollars of results with it. You want to start up a campaign in your market, we can tell you about what results to expect and give you the exact template that's working in another market where you would be working in another geographic market where you guys are not crossing paths to create a conflict of interest, but wouldn't need to start out totally from scratch like a normal person would trying to build up a campaign on Google or Facebook or whatever totally from scratch. And so we have tons of markets where we have campaign templates available. So if you're looking to start up a new business in a new market, you could just start with our campaign and have a campaign that is basically profitable within a couple months and without having to do any work, based upon the work that we did for that client over many years to get the results we did, trial and error, through trial and error and everything else that we did to get there. Ultimately, we've had clients who actually started a business. The campaign worked so good they could outsource all the work, knew nothing about the work in that space, found a partner to outsource the work to, kept 5 or 10% of the revenue for themselves, and had a business just from the fact that they used our campaigns to start a business, a local business like a plumbing business or an electrical supply business in their city. We also have product campaigns that we have templates available for, and products that you can source on your own as well in one geographic market, whereas in another geographic market, another country, that campaign is not, that product's not being sold there and could be sold there. So anyway, if you're curious about that, want to know if we have a template maybe available in your niche already, in the business that you're doing, reach out to our company. We'll let you know what templates we have in what markets. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you were entertained. Hope to see you on my next video where we have another great PPC strategy for you there. Peace out.